Welcome back to the DMG Instead of Wrong YouTube channel. My name is Mike, and obviously I'm joined today by Gates Jones. How's it going?
Going good. What up? How we doing?
We're doing good. We're doing good over here.
Finally got this setup. I'm struggling to get my setup going. There we go.
Yeah, I see that.
It was all messed up for a second.
Um, yep. Before we get into this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We see that 92% of you guys that watch these videos are not subscribed. So hit that button. 92. Yeah, 92. So hit that subscribe button. Do us all a favor. We appreciate it if you do. For the ones that have, we greatly appreciate you already. So join the movement. Catch the vibe with us. Just join the family. Join the team.
Yeah,
But go ahead. No, you go ahead. I was going to jump into the video, but go ahead.
I was going to do the same thing.
Oh, well, perfect. So we're just going to jump right into the video. And as you can tell here, the worst draft picks ever, part 1.
Yeah, this is our. These are our top picks. We went through and read a bunch, had some funny stories, put them in there. I'm excited for this video. I think this stuff's fun, and it's a
Yeah.
lot more fun to look back on it now that it's not in the present for a lot of these players.
Yeah, same. So,
Some sad, some funny, some self-inflicted, some freak accidents. We'll see. But yeah, Mikey, like you said, Mikey, let's get into it.
let's jump right into the first one here. And honestly, one of my favorite college receivers of all time right here, dude. This dude was a legend.
This guy was a beast.
Justin
Him and
Blackmon.
Brandon Whedon.
Yes. Oklahoma State boys, Cowboys, and they were lighting it up in college. Insane.
Dude, I remember the games between like them and Oklahoma, and I think that's when like Oklahoma had was it Bradford?
Sam Bradford,
I
probably.
think so.
Yeah. I think that was
Games
around
were
the time.
crazy.
Yeah. But sadly, Justin Blackmon has to make it on this list just because of everything that happened. So, draft year was 2012. He was a first round pick, number 5 by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Obviously, he's a wide receiver. The funny story to start off with, the funny part of the story is the Jacksonville Jaguars actually traded up to get him. They traded up from 7 to 5 and traded with the Bucks. And
What did they have to give up?
it doesn't say completely what they gave up, but it does say that the Buccaneers won the trade. So,
Well, obviously.
yeah. So, but Justin Blackmon, he had a great rookie year. He had 64 receptions for 865 yards.
Yeah,
Not
he was gonna be he was gonna be legit.
Yeah, he had a pretty good rookie campaign. The sad part about this and why it doesn't really pan out well for him in his favor is a bunch of off-field issues. He had multiple suspensions. He only played 4 games in 2013. The following year, and a Pro Football Hall of Famer. Not going to name the name just because we want to keep his credibility. You can look it up for yourself. But he referred to Justin Blackmon as Dez Bryant, but he has all his brain cells. As we can tell, that
It didn't happen.
yeah, there you can look up what multiple suspensions he picked up were for. I'm not going to dive substance abuse. I'm not going to dive too deep into it, but yeah, the guy was going to light the league on fire. He was set up for success, good rookie campaign, and some guys they can't get it all together, sadly, and it's sad to see guys like Justin Blackmon. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, it sucks to see some players do that to themselves, but yeah, Justin Blackmon has to make this list just for that reason because he was going to be a high-quality receiver in the NFL.
I mean, he was elite. I mean, the guy was a freak, and everybody knew he was going to be good.
Oh, yeah.
And not to mention, what were his rookie stats again, Mikey?
64 receptions for 865 yards.
His quarterbacks that year switched between the 3 of them: Blaine Gabbert, Chad Henne, and Jordan Palmer
Wow.
in Jacksonville, and he was still able to put up those numbers.
Kind of like Allen Robinson.
Yeah, sad to see him. Sad to see what happened.
Yep. but he has to make the list for that reason. And with that, we move on to our next person in this list, being
Greg Robinson. Man, this guy's story is one of the funnier ones, honestly. He was drafted in 2014, second overall to the St. Louis Rams at the time.
Yep.
Offensive tackle. He was there to be the left tackle to Sam Bradford, actually. So, yeah, it was Sam Bradford back in the Oklahoma State days.
Yep.
They drafted him. He had comparisons to Larry Allen, left tackle, Hall of Fame left tackle from the Cowboys. Everyone thought he was going to be just this all-pro tackle. And he ended up getting traded within his rookie contract to the Detroit Lions for a 5th-round pick. On his rookie deal, still gone. Go to Detroit. That's how bad that ended up. Then he played a pretty bad year at Detroit. Sad to say, he played the 1 year after that he was traded into Detroit. His rookie deal ended, and he went and he signed a deal with the Cleveland Browns. Had a pretty good 2018 year. Started to turn it around, show he could be a starter in the NFL. Not anything special, but he picked it up. And then you heard he had some little substance thing going on. He had a little problem with it. Didn't come to anything. No big deal. In 2019 season, the Browns had that awful year that everyone thought they were going to go to the Super Bowl, and then they just, shit the bed. At the end of that year, he ended up actually getting suspended for, possession. He got arrested, and then he had a possession charge, and then he got suspended for the last 4 games. And he started to come back, and he thought he was going to play, and then out of nowhere, legal troubles, he gets arrested in El Paso, Texas, for carrying 157 pounds of weed from the Mexico border over to Texas. Not trying to hide it or anything. They show if you look it up on the internet, there's a picture of his car. It's not hidden. It's just in his trunk.
Nice.
157 pounds of weed. And now he's facing up to 20 years of prison. So that's got to be one of the biggest draft busts ever. Traded within your rookie deal for a 5th-round pick. The team that traded for you didn't even want you. Let you go that next year. And then you finally get a chance, and you end up going to prison for almost 20 years. He at the end, he was able to because he has a lot of money. He only has 5 years probation, but he will never play football again.
Nice.
So,
good job, Greg.
Oh, and that's just his draft part. After the fact, 2 years later, just in February, just recently, he was arrested again with possession of over $120,000 worth of legal drugs. Wow. This guy chose the thug life, and he stayed there.
Oh, yeah. Good on you, Greg.
So, one of the worst draft picks ever.
Yeah, especially being the 2nd overall pick.
Exactly. What's the third one, though?
Third one.
What are we moving on? What's the next one?
John Ross the third. Shout out to pictures, by the way.
The Bengals' first appearance on this list.
Yep. Yeah. Stay tuned for that one. John Ross, draft year 2017. Obviously, 1st-round guy. Pick number 9 by the Bengals. Wide receiver. John Ross, for those of you who don't know, he is lightning quick. And by lightning quick, I mean has the fastest 40-yard dash in the NFL Combine history at 4.22. So, kind of, that's how he kind of blew up on the scene. Had a good last year at Washington with 81 receptions, 1,100 yards and 17 touchdowns. Solid senior year, or redshirt junior year, actually, I should say. But then he went to the Combine, did that 40-yard dash, and just kind of took over the NFL's draft scene by storm. Kind of flew up the boards after that, just for how quick and athletic he is. But
which is just funny how ridiculous NFL teams take the 40-yard dash.
Yeah, they take it a little too
Like,
seriously. And
wait,
obviously,
what? Okay, top 10. Top 10.
yeah.
4-2, top 10.
And that speed never translated in the NFL. He was the 9th overall pick, obviously. He was the 3rd wide receiver selected in the draft class after Corey Davis and Mike Williams. Signed his 4-year, $17.1 million contract with a $10.6 million signing bonus. He made his professional debut on September 4, 2017 on Thursday Night Football after missing the season opener due to a knee injury. He fumbled his first and only carry of the game.
Yep.
And he was subsequently benched after gaining only 12 rushing yards as the Bengals lost. And then things just never really took off for the guy. In 2018, Ross had 21 receptions for 210 receiving yards and 7 receiving touchdowns. So, I mean, decent little number of touchdowns there, but not the other numbers you want to see.
No. And he's known to be a guy that just drops. Like, he drops
Yeah.
so many wide open passes, constantly getting hurt.
Yeah.
Um,
2019, he had an all right season. He had, during week 2 against the 49ers, he had 4 catches for 112 yards and a touchdown. And the Bengals still lost 41-17 to the Niners. On October 2nd of that same year, he was placed on the injury reserves for a shoulder injury. He returned November 13th, and then he was practicing with the team on December 3rd. He finished the season with 28 receptions, 506 receiving yards, and 3 receiving touchdowns.
So, not overall a awful player, but
Yeah.
for being picked 9th overall, to give you something that is like your 3rd gadget player maybe that you put in, 3rd string wide receiver gadget guy, you go out there, that's an awful pick. Notable players that were drafted after John Ross. One pick directly after, Patrick Mahomes.
Oh.
Deshaun Watson. No. Where is it at? Oh yeah, T.J. Watt, Curtis Samuel, Dalvin Cook. There's a couple other wide receivers in there. Oh, Juju Smith-Schuster, Cooper Kupp, Chris Godwin, Kareem Hunt, Kenny Golladay.
Just to put another thing into perspective for you as well. So 2017 got drafted, games played 3. 2018, got hurt. 2018 games played 13. Got hurt that year as well.
Hurt?
Yes, he did.
Okay, yeah. Sure.
2019 games played 8. Got hurt. 2020 games played 3. And 2021, this time with the New York Giants, because the Bengals did not pick up his 5th-year option or extend him. 2021 New York Giants games played 10. And games started was 1. He has a career receptions of 62 for 957 yards. And being in the league for 5 years.
And these aren't like he was out for the year. This is like he gets hurt, comes back for a game, gets hurt, comes back for 2 games, gets hurt, comes back.
Yeah.
Like it's just like a nonstop.
Yeah, he was. He doesn't have the muscle density of some people in the NFL. He just can't stay healthy to save his life.
Yeah. Could have been for his speed, but at the same time, people did not think he was a round 1 wide receiver before the combine because of glaring problems, zero physicality. He could not get off the press. He could not win 50-50 balls, had concentration issues, and he had like 2 routes, the deep post and the shallow cross.
And this didn't just happen once he got in the NFL either. Like in 2015, he had a medical red shirt for the Washington Huskies. He had to sit out a whole year.
Yeah.
Because he was hurt.
One of the more surprising picks, I think.
Yeah, this is just a waste of a 9th overall pick. So, that's Justin Ross for you.
John Ross.
Sorry.
Justin Ross. Who is Justin Ross?
He's the guy for this upcoming draft. Sorry. John Ross.
Okay. For
Clemson.
hopefully it's not the same.
Yeah, he also
situation
has
for him.
some injury issues, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's John Ross for you. Moving on to the next person, and Kevin White, which is also me.
One of the saddest.
Yeah,
ones.
it basically kind of has the same story as John Ross in a sense. But so this Kevin White, draft year 2015, round 1, pick 7 by the Chicago Bears. He's also another wide receiver to make this list. That's 3 of them now.
Except he was supposed to be like legit. Like everyone thought.
Oh, yeah,
He was,
yeah, oh,
like,
yeah.
Consensus, top wide receiver beforehand. John Ross
Yeah.
just blew up because of the 40. Kevin White was elite. The guy was freak.
Dude, in his 2014 at West Virginia, he had 109 receptions for just under 1,500 yards.
Can you 109 receptions?
109 receptions for
this is
just
NFL
under
16 games. This
Yeah.
is like 11, 12 games in college.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
this is 13 games played this year in 2014 for West
Jeez.
Virginia. Just under 1,500 yards, and he had 10 touchdowns.
That's crazy, dude.
He himself is pretty quick, too. He had a 4.35 40. Isn't the fastest, but also isn't slow by any means. He was considered one of the best wide receivers in his class with Amari Cooper. He was drafted by the Bears, 7th overall. Signed a 4-year, $15 million team or contract with the team. Did not play a single game his rookie year.
And I don't think he was hurt coming into it. I think he got hurt in the preseason.
Yeah, while participating in Bears' offseason program, White received a minor injury to his shin that held him out for several training camp practices. Shortly after returning, Bears general manager Ryan Pace announced on August 15, 2015, that White had suffered a stress fracture in his shin while participating in organized team activities that would require surgery.
And he never made it back.
Never made it back that year. White had a steel rod inserted into his left tibia and was placed on the Bears' physical unable to perform list. White did not play a single game during his rookie year of 2015.
Yeah. And it just never changed. He just never really got to play.
Yep.
He never turned into anything really.
Because, get this, after playing the first 4 games in 2016, it was announced on October 5th, 2016, that White had fractured the fibula in his left leg, the same leg he had injured the year before, and had to be placed on the injured reserve list.
In 2017, he played 1 game.
He played the season opener against the Atlanta Falcons, where he fractured his left shoulder blade in the game. And he was placed on the injured reserve for the 3rd straight year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Just sad.
Yeah. It's only a bust just because he couldn't do what he was meant to do. He just couldn't stay healthy, man. It's not like he was, I mean, you can't really tell if he was bad or not, but just couldn't stay healthy.
He's been in the league for now 6 years, and he's played 23 games as a top 10 pick.
Yep.
So
he has 20.
Pretty easy for him to make the list. Sad, but pretty easy for it.
As of 2021, he has 26 receptions for 323 yards and 0 touchdowns.
That's sad.
Yep.
He's never scored an NFL touchdown.
Never. Since 2015. Never has. Since he's been in the league. Yeah. Kevin White couldn't live up to the hype, sadly. Couldn't stay healthy. But he was set to light the scenes on fire, too, along with Justin Blackmon and a couple other guys.
Yeah.
So.
What? You made it up under our list. What's the next guy, sad?
Next guy is...
So, we've got Justin Gilbert here, cornerback that was drafted by the Browns, 8th overall in 2014. I'm just gonna pull this full draft up for you guys. Okay, the Browns originally had the 4th pick, I believe. Yes, they originally had the 4th pick, and they traded back with Buffalo for the 8th pick and the 22nd pick. Right, good deal. Buffalo Bills get Sammy Watkins, and the Browns they get Justin Gilbert. One of the top 3 corners in the draft. That's what everyone thought. And then he just never panned out. He started only 3 games in his rookie year. Had constant off the field issues, partying, teammates and coaches all questioned his work ethic, if he actually cared. He did not have a good football IQ. Players were legitimately questioning if he was smart on the team. And then that's just like a normal bad pick, right? Then you find out why he was picked. At the time, Ray Farmer, our GM, he got a tip from, I think, our owner or somebody that they watched a highlight tape of him and thought he was good. So they drafted him. That's not a big deal, right? A highlight tape. Mind you, they did not meet with him once throughout the draft process. Never had an interview. Never contacted his coaches in college to see who he was. They didn't do any research on this player. Which, one, if you're picking in the top 10, how do you not research like
The
all
whole
the players?
first round.
Because you have you have like the pick of the litter, especially at the 4th overall pick. How do you not pick or draft a player? You literally or scout a player. You literally drafted him with no idea who he was. It's literally like if I walked in there, I'm like, you know what? I want to draft Kenny Pickett. I saw his highlight video once. I actually haven't sat down and did any film study, but everyone says he should be good. So, I mean, it's not going to be like that big of a deal, right? I'll just drafted him. And you have no idea who this guy is. Which, if you talk to like his coaches, everyone knew he had problems. He had work ethic problems. He skipped practices all the time. He partied constantly. But, not a big deal. We'll pair it on. What's the next pick? Because this is what makes this pick even worse, is the fact that 22nd pick that we got was Johnny Manziel. who together were part of the reason why they didn't do it, because they would fly to Vegas nights before the games. They would go party and gamble all the time together. Like, literally, you pick the 2 worst people to be next to each other in the same draft, in which, at the time, Kyle Shanahan and Mike Pettin Kyle Shanahan and Mike Pettin were the offensive coordinator and head coach of the Browns, both of which did not want Johnny Manziel. Both said that he was going to be a bust. And the owner really wanted it because it would sell, and he forced them to draft Johnny Manziel. And then when the Browns were doing really good in 2014, when they were like 6-2, 7-3 or something like that, he forced Johnny Manziel to start over Brian Hoyer when we were doing well, and we ended up finishing the season 6-10. Yeah, so we're 6-2. Like it is literally probably like the combined one of the worst like picks in the same draft. I mean, maybe like singularity, the picks aren't the biggest draft busts of all time, but the fact that they were combined picks basically, and they both literally tanked, didn't even make it out of their rookie deal with the contracts. Johnny Manziel was cut. He hasn't played in the NFL since. Johnny Manziel had multiple legal issues. He didn't play often. He also was like a bad teammate. And then with Justin Gilbert, nothing says that we have no faith that you'll ever be an NFL player than trading within your division to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sure, Pittsburgh, go ahead and take Justin Gilbert. We have zero faith in this dude.
Yeah.
So combined, probably 2 of the worst draft picks of all time.
Perfect.
Combined more. I still can't believe the fact that they drafted a player, NFL franchise drafted a player without doing any film work or meeting with the player.
Yeah.
That's mind-boggling to me.
That was the Browns at that point.
Oh boy, yes it was.
So, moving on to the next one here. We got Ryan Leaf. Ooh, this is a good story. All right, Ryan Leaf. Draft year, 1998. Round 1. Pick 2 to the Chargers. He was a quarterback in that draft class. Now, him and Peyton Manning were in the same draft class. Obviously, Peyton Manning was drafted number 1 overall, but we'll get into that here in a second. So, Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf, they were considered the 2 best players in this draft, hands down. The Chargers wanted Peyton Manning, but the Colts had the number 1 overall pick, and the Colts weren't giving that up, and that's a fact. So, and the Chargers at the time had the number 3 overall pick, but they wanted to pick between Ryan Leaf and Peyton Manning, whichever one didn't get picked first. So, who had the number 2 pick at the time? That would be the Arizona Cardinals. So the only way to get that number 2 pick was the Chargers traded their 3rd overall pick, a future first, a 2nd round pick, and 3-time Pro Bowler Eric Metcalf, guaranteeing the right to draft whichever the 2 quarterbacks Indianapolis did not take first. Now, as we all know, Peyton Manning was drafted first by the Colts, and Leaf followed second to the Chargers. Signed him to a 4-year contract worth $31.25 million and guaranteed a $11.25 million signing bonus, the largest ever paid to a rookie at the time.
And that was before they had like strict rookie contracts where everyone has the same thing. They were allowed to negotiate their own deals.
Correct. Now, hold on, I gotta find it here, because this dude was terrible. Let's see here, where was it? Oh man, where was it? Man, I can't find it. He had terrible stats. Okay, well, hold on. Okay, I found it. It all went downhill from there, basically. It was a disaster from start to finish. In the 3 years with the Chargers, Leaf only started 18 games, and he went 4-14, and he missed the entire 1999 season due to an injury. And by the end of the 2000 season, the Chargers decided they didn't want him anymore, so they released him. And the most embarrassing thing... Okay, never mind. Yeah, they traded up to get him.
Yeah, it is an awful pick. Literally, like one of the main draft stories of all time. Peyton Manning, Ryan Leaf.
Yeah.
One went first, one went second. And completely polar opposite career lines. The Chargers were one missed pick away or one higher draft trade up away from having a top 5 quarterback of all time.
Another funny thing is the Chargers would have had the number 1...
the number 1 overall pick if somebody like Lott.
I think if the Colts would have won, they played somebody. If they would have beat somebody, the Chargers would have ended up with the number 1 pick.
Yeah. And I think they were like leading that game and then ended up losing in overtime.
Yeah.
In week 17 or something like that. So it was like that's just heartbreaking, dude.
Yeah. I can't remember where I read that. But yeah, if the Colts would have won that game, then Peyton Manning would have been a Charger, which is also crazy to think about.
Yeah. But yeah, Ryan Leaf makes it onto our list.
Yep.
He's 3rd or 4th total. Oh, Jamarcus Russell. Gosh, this is probably like the most comical one.
Yeah.
This is up there. You could argue that this is number 1 because the Raiders had to literally ignore every red flag in the book for drafting a player to make this pick. He was drafted in 2007, first overall, obviously to the Raiders. He was known for being lazy. He was known for not working in the off season. He was known to not really care about playing football. Like every red flag you could think of, this dude had it. and like multiple general managers told Al Davis that taking Jamarcus Russell would be a huge mistake, including his own staff, like in the Raiders organization, and he still drafted him because he could chuck that ball a mile on his knees. That is like that's just one of the funniest things. But not only did they draft him first overall, but to repay the team for being drafted first overall, he decided to hold out the entire OTAs and training camp. And then he eventually reported to the team in September. So he reported to the team, I think, after like the first week of the season. So he skipped absolutely everything. Finally got his deal, and then didn't make his start until the very last game of the season, his rookie year. He did play 25 games for him. He went 7-18. The Raiders ended up cutting him when the final straws, when he showed up to minicamp at 290 pounds, which was roughly over 20 pounds heavier than what he should have been, his playing weight at 270. Now, that's just kind of like the overall gist of it. Now you get into the details of some of the stories that were heard. In order to get him to do film study, the coach said for him to be up to, like, Tuesdays were the days off for players in the NFL. And everyone has got a day off basically besides the quarterback. The quarterback has to go in and meet with the coaches, and they do film work and study together. And the coach said, for him to be up to this, we had to stop at Wendy's and pick up like 10 Bacon Jr. cheeseburgers just to get him to come and do film study.
Oh no.
Literally, like, I ain't doing this. You give me a cheeseburger. Dude, like, oh my gosh.
Nice.
And the same coach, he also gave Jamarcus Russell DVDs, like with concepts, plays, and like the game plan. And then he asked him, and they would do this for every player, right? They just give out like their DVDs and let the players watch the film. The coaching staff, however, instantly found out that this guy doesn't want to do anything, right? pretty soon. And they started becoming skeptical, and they doubted if he was even putting in any preparation, let alone the proper preparation. So one day, the coach gave him and sent him home with a blank DVD, expressed like how important this new game plan was, and it was like a change, not like not the same routine. And the next day, he showed up and they talked about it, and Jamarcus was like, "Yeah, I agree with everything. I like it. Let's do it." The DVD was blank. He gave him a blank DVD. The dude didn't even look at it. It's literally just one of the worst like draft picks of all time, and it has everything to do with the player, and it's all on the franchise as well, because there was signs everywhere, and yet they still did it. This one was hilarious.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
That's our third worst ever, and moving on to our second worst ever, Mikey.
We got our main man Heathschuler here, drafted in 1994, round 1, pick 3 by the Redskins, or football commanders, or whatever you want to call them nowadays. The commies.
The Washington Commieskins.
Yep. But he's a quarterback. So 1994. So when Kirk Cousins beat out Robert Griffin for the job, I don't know what year that was, but it probably gave Washington fans
16.
Was it?
I think so. Keep going. I'll make sure.
Yep. So that happened. It probably gave Washington fans ugly flashbacks to the 1994 draft. 25 years ago, the Redskins were in a dire need of a quarterback, and they selected 2. 2012, right there. Boom. It was 2012. That's what I wanted to say. In 1994, they took Heathschuler with the 3rd overall pick. 13? Okay, here it says 12. It don't matter. Either way, same thing. They picked Schuler
12,
with the...
Yeah, my bad.
No, you're good.
My bad.
Okay, so 2012. They took Schuler with the 3rd overall pick, and they followed it up by taking another quarterback in the 7th round, last round of the draft. His name was Gus. I'm going to butcher this. Freeroyd. Gus Freeroyd or something like that. I believe that's how you say it. Freeroyd. Although Schuler was a starter for the 13 games over 2 seasons, he eventually lost the quarterback job to Freeroyd. And when your third overall pick loses the job to the 197th overall pick, you're bad. You're a bust. You're terrible. And then, following, what was that, the 3 seasons? In 1997, he was traded to the New Orleans Saints, and he lasted 1 season before he decided to quit football due to a foot injury.
He did have a lot more success outside of football.
Yes, he was
than
actually
he did inside of football.
he's a former what is it? He's a former U.S. representative of the North Carolina's 11th congressional district from 2007 to 2013. So he made his mark somewhere else, and he was for the Democratic Party. No wonder he didn't make it in football.
I guess he did do something for Washington technically in his politics. So
yeah, good for him.
It's just can't believe. Can you top 3 pick, 3rd overall, getting benched in your first year for a 7th round pick in the same draft? That's awful.
Yeah, his career NFL stats was 15 touchdowns to 33 interceptions. He had a QBR rating of 54.3.
Well,
yeah, not good. Let's see here. Through 5 okay, never mind.
This was a hard one for us. We could not decide which one was worse, Heathschuler or Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah.
We went with just because in the same class you get benched for a 7th round quarterback that you deserve to be 2nd. And there's only one other draft pick that is worse than any of these, and it's not even close. And that is this next one. Akili Smith, or Akili Smith, however you want to pronounce it.
Akili. That's how I'd say it.
They should have just known with the name Achilles, basically.
Yep.
Same thing. Anyways, Cincinnati Bengals select Akili Smith, quarterback, in 1999 with the 3rd overall pick. Oh boy. I'm just going to go over his stats. Okay, we'll go over his stats and we'll determine why he's the worst ever draft pick. The Bengals alone, they made so many horrible draft picks in the 1990s. If you don't believe me, go look at them. You can literally make a top 10 list of just their draft picks. But he was by far the worst. He played 4 seasons with the Bengals. He only started 17 games, of which he went 3-14 in them. He had 13 picks. Downs. How you start 7?
How many touchdowns did he have?
5.
13 picks, 5 touchdowns.
Yes.
Okay.
How
sorry.
you only threw 5 touchdowns in 17 games and yet still got to start in those games?
Must have been Skycam Glennon.
Yeah. And not just that. It's not like he just, they ran the ball in for their touchdowns. No, he had a career average of 46.6% completion percentage.
Nice.
That is one of the worst I've ever seen. Okay, and that's just pure talent. The guy was just awful. Literally did nothing for him. The second reason, which makes this the absolute worst draft pick of all time and makes this story hilarious, is because what they gave up to make sure that they selected Akili Smith with that number 3 overall pick. Now, Mike Ditka, former Bears head coach, was coaching the Saints at the time. And Mike Ditka was trying to trade up from the 12th spot where they were at to 3rd overall to grab Ricky Williams. Which you guys should all know, Ricky Williams ended up going to the Dolphins. But he wanted him so badly. He wanted Ricky Williams so bad that he offered a package of 9 picks to the Bengals to move up to the 3rd overall spot. The Bengals are awful. You know what 9 picks could do for their team, and not just like 9 crappy picks. Let's go for the list of the picks.
I was gonna say.
They would have landed the New Orleans Saints 1st round pick, 3rd round pick, 4th round pick, 5th round pick, 6th round pick, 7th round pick in that year's draft, which was the 12th, 71st, 107th, 144, 179, and 218, as well as the New Orleans Saints 1st round pick in 2000 and in 2001, along with a 2nd round pick in 2002 for a running back. One, just shocking that you could trade that many players or picks for a running back in the day, let alone the fact that the Bengals were like, nah, Akili Smith, that is our dude. And Mike Brown was like, it was a generous offer. But we felt like now is the time to get our quarterback, and we've been saying this all along. Someone clearly never explained to Mike Brown how the draft works, because they could have used one of their 9 picks to trade back up in the draft and take Akili Smith, who if you go and look at the draft order, none of the other teams were going to be in the running for taking a quarterback. They literally could have traded back and then gone up a couple in front of the guy, I think at 10, and picked their quarterback that they wanted to, making this easily the worst draft pick of all time.
That is god awful. Good job, Bengals. You guys are great at this whole drafting players thing.
You know what?
Now they are.
Bengals were the runner-up in the Super Bowl, and they finished 1st in this. Okay.
Yep.
They're winners.
Yep. They're winners in our books today.
Yeah, I mean, yikes. So those are our top 10. Some honorable mentions we were thinking about was Jake Locker, the quarterback from the Titans, Troy Williamson from the Vikings in 2005, and then who was the guy last year that went to the Titans?
Oh, Isaiah Wilson?
Yes, Isaiah Wilson.
Yep.
That was another honorable mention.
That dude just couldn't stay out of trouble.
But that's it. Those are our top 10 worst ever draft picks.
Yep.
This is a really fun video to do researching, because a lot of these, you get to see a lot of like late 90s, early 90s draft picks that, we know players, but we don't really know like the situation and stuff. Got to read all that and like learn. Quite funny.
Yeah. Some of these dudes are a bunch of interesting characters. That's just to say the least.
Yeah, bunch of scrubs.
And couldn't play football to save their lives, some of them.
So, but that's it for the video. If you guys made it to the end of it, we appreciate your time. We hope that you guys enjoyed it and found some of these as funny as we did. Make sure you hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. It should be like right there. You can see it on screen. And keep in tune. We're going to bring up some more info content. So you guys have a great day.
Peace out.